Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing strongholds that can be found in the Fractured Peaks. Specifically, I'm going to let you know why you should do them, what to avoid, and where they're located. Alright, let's dive in. The reason why we run strongholds is for the renown. You get 100 renown points for every single stronghold that you take down. Gain enough renown and things like experience bonuses, gold bonuses, extra paragon points become available, as well as account-wide skill points, potion charge increases, and obol increases. Before we get into the down and dirty of each of these strongholds, I do want to call attention to three separate things. The first is, it's okay to die. If you die, you will respawn just inside the outskirts of the stronghold, and you can go back to killing the baddies that just killed you. The second is a word of caution. If you teleport out of the stronghold without finishing it first, it resets, and you'll need to start it over again. Lastly, the monster level of each of the monsters in the stronghold is 2 character levels above your character's current level. Gear and skill up before taking any of these strongholds on. So let's start with the least interesting of all the strongholds in the Fractured Peaks, Nostrava, or as I like to refer to it, the Training Wheels Stronghold. Nostrava appears to be the game's introductory stronghold due to its familiar mechanics of monsters popping up from the ground, households needing to be cleared, NPCs needing to be saved, and effigies needing to be burned. In some of the houses, you're going to find the bosses that you will eventually fight at the end. Now, you can't kill them until you meet them in the final boss battle, but when they do, they're all together at the same time. Now, here's where I probably made a mistake. I shouldn't have tried to defeat them one at a time. I should have taken them down all together. Because once I killed one, the other 2 became more empowered, and the skills that they were throwing at me came fast and furious. I was having to kite around, and I wasn't able to kill those 2 as fast as I would have liked had I taken their health down all at the same time. That being said, this still wasn't the most difficult of boss battles that you'll ever find in the Fractured Peaks. These guys were simple, straightforward, using electricity as we've seen in other Diablo games. Walk over to the Wanderer Shrine after you beat them, and offer whatever offering it is. Once done, it turns into a town. Now this particular town has a waypoint and a stables, which I'm guessing includes a mount that you can't find anywhere else in the game. Next up is the village of Malnok, which had all of its denizens turned into monsters and frozen. Yeah, I'm sure they deserved it. As marked on the minimap, you'll need to take down 3 Ice Clan Stormcallers to get to the final boss. Alright, let's get real. Malnok is not a simple fight. The monsters in here, being 2 levels above, are noticeably more difficult than those you find in the overworld. During battles with 2 out of the 3 elites, you're on raised structures where there isn't a whole lot of place to move. And speaking of those elites, Blizzard seemed to want to give them, at least on my playthroughs, a ton of CCs and debuffs. It makes each of the Ice Clan Stormcaller battles time-consuming, and if you do not have enough evade and or dash skills, more than a little frustrating. Malnok's final boss, Frosthorn, couldn't be much more of a pain in the butt to deal with if your build does not have enough evade and dash skills to handle all of the CCs and ground effects that this guy spews out. His ice bombs are particularly irksome as they do massive amounts of damage, freeze you in place, and then he finishes you off with his big cleaver. It's awesome. If you are struggling to beat Frosthorn without a little help, I first recommend that you try to pop a freeze resistance potion that you can find from the Alchemist in Kovashad. If that doesn't get you over the finish line, it's likely you don't have the proper gear and will have to come back at a later time. That being said, you can always party up and have a properly geared character carry you. After doing shrine things at the Wanderer Shrine, Malnok decides it wants to be a real village again and have all of those good-for-nothing, Lilith-hating inhabitants back within its borders. And speaking of Lilith-hating residents, you can now expect to find the blacksmith, armor, healer, and rings and ambulance vendors in Malnok. But annoyingly, no waypoint. Last up is Kor Dragan, and in my opinion, the most interesting and fun of the 3 strongholds that you're going to find in the Fractured Peaks. And I firmly believe someone at Blizzard that designed this whole thing had a Dracula infatuation, because this is all about vampires, blood banks, and an undying stream of monsters. There are 3 objectives the player must complete before they can defeat the boss. Now, the first thing you must do is to destroy all of these blood-filled sack things called vampire corruption. There are 8 of them located throughout the stronghold, and you will notice that I am putting them up on the minimap for your convenience. The monsters in Kor Dragan, like every other stronghold, are 2 levels above your current character level. That being said, and maybe it was because I was properly geared at the time that I took on the stronghold, but it didn't feel overly difficult to complete. As a personal note, I would have preferred seeing more life leech and life siphon or blood skills from the elites in this particular stronghold, because it would have fit better in with the whole vampire motif that Blizzard seemed to want to go with. What makes this particular stronghold so interesting, though, is the potential possibility of never-ending experience. This is because the vampiric incubators, or the second task the user must complete, endlessly spew out minions. The monsters never stop spawning. If you're looking to get to level 50 really quick, this might be the place to do it. That being said, I only tested this prior to destroying all the vampire corruption, so it might not be the same afterward. The last task you must complete before you get to the boss is to destroy the vampiric aberration. I'm not even sure why you have to do this, because it was literally 4 hits even with the druid to destroy it. Nilkar probably would have been a much more difficult fight if I wasn't properly geared. There's one skill in particular that you need to look out for, and that is what just hit me, and I didn't even notice it until it was too late, because I was right on top of him when it hit me. And the skill in question is some sort of ranged blood fire. And as you'll see in a moment, it does quite a bit of damage in a short period of time, and you're going to need to eat pots just to stay alive. For all you necromancers out there, or druids that are playing with pets, I did find the best way to keep Nilkar occupied was to direct your pets to him, and then if necessary take out any elites that try to kill you from behind. Doing this allowed me to range attack and stay away from his blood fire. And as should be second nature by now, you need to go over to the Wanderer's Shrine and click on it to change the stronghold. But Blizzard decided to throw us a little misdirect here, because they had previously said that strongholds change to towns. Well, guess what? This one doesn't. I had previously stated that this stronghold is interesting because you can kind of sit there and upgrade your character because of the infinite spawns. Well, as long as you're properly geared and properly skilled, you can do that after the stronghold is completed too, because the monsters that you find there are 5 character levels above yours. In my opinion, this can act as extra endgame content because elites do spawn, legendaries do drop, and monsters come in serious packs. That's all for this video, guys. If you enjoyed what you watched, please consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, I'm Beyond Agog.